Okay, can you guys hear me? Hang on. Hang on here. Okay, now can you hear me? Can you guys hear me okay? I can't tell if you can hear me or not until you say something. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, I was going to do an update. Like I say, I hope you can hear me. I was going to do an update because I'm getting ready to leave on this trip, and I just didn't have time to do the video and do all the editing and stuff. So I thought I'd do this, and then if you guys want to ask questions or anything about the layout, feel free, and I'll see if I can answer them for you. I guess I'll start with some of the old stuff that I added stuff to. I haven't done a lot over there, but I'll take the other camera around and show you some of that stuff right quick. Yeah, let me get it set up right here. That'll be a little better. And camera. Okay. This way I can kind of keep up with it now. Okay, so anyway, on the main part of the layout that I've got most of the stuff done. I did put a little bit more in on the some more scenery and stuff in on the lumberyard area. I got some of the track ballasted, some of that kind of stuff. Pretty much all I've done over here. I did get the dead end block put up. I don't know if I showed that before or not, but anyway, I was doing that. Oh, I meant to move this stuff. Let me get this out of the way. Anyway, this is the main yard for the narrow gauge. It's the only yard for the layout, other than what's going to be on the little town just above this when I get to that point. This is a little building that I just built. This was a laser arch building, I think was the name of it. Came out really nice. It's a laser cut kit, which makes them much easier to build than the Campbell's kits that are Craftsman kits. But it came out pretty nice, and I think I'm going to set it right here in this area, close in this area to maybe be a parts supply or something for the roundhouse in this area right here. So, and let's see, let me get around here and I can show you what else I got done. So if we do that, I don't know if you can see the lights down there that came on. I got a lot of the lights in. I still have a lot more to put in, but I got a pretty good start on that, I think, since the last layout update. I'm going to go and turn that off. And then I will show you what I've been working on here for the most part here lately. I'm getting ready to, right in this area is going to be the cattle pens and the slaughterhouse. This is the slaughterhouse kit I'm working on right now. And it will sit in this area with both narrow gauge and standard gauge track coming in off of the main line over there. Then I've been doing the hills and the corners, and I got the rocks carved on the back wall over here on the side, kind of using the same setup that Bill was using on his layout. Kind of like that effect, especially for a sandstone mountain. It's really easy to make it look like real rock. This is a kit. This is a Campbell's kit that my wife and my daughter put together. My wife was in petroleum, gas and petroleum for a while. Well, for quite a while, actually. So this is going to carry her name on that. This is a little kit. This is a Campbell's kit. The two tanks are. They're a Campbell's kit that I bought from the hobby shop in Iowa that Bill was going to. He did a live stream from there, and I saw this kit on the shelf, and so I hadn't been able to find it anywhere. So I wrote to them and ordered that kit from them and got that. The tanks are the only thing I used out of it. Everything else on it, all the stands and the pipe stand up here on top, and the little collection chamber right there below the tanks that would have held the pump to pump it up into the tank cars. All that scratch built. But I got those all weathered, and they're where they're going to sit now. And been putting trees in and some trees and stuff. Got to do a lot more, of course, but it ties in pretty well with the backdrop that I have on this side. This is I'm not even sure what part of Colorado that rock is from, but I like the look of it for this area between the Helix Mountain and the mountains that I just finished. These down here, I cut all of this out down about here and all the way down. I had just done it with foam board and then put plaster over it and just kind of put the plaster on there and left it like that. And I thought with that rugged rock in the back, I thought it would look a lot better with rock molds on it. So that's what I did there. And then coming forward in front of that, and I'm sorry about the light. The light's not great right here. But this is the lake I put in. This is the magic water I was talking about that I've used for the waterfalls and the small stream in the back. I really like this. This stuff is bulletproof. Doesn't leave fingerprints. You can't dent it. I guess you could if you hit something really hard on it. You could probably dent it, but it's very tough material, and it dries completely clear. So if you want to put tin in it like I did, you just tin a little bit. This has 3 separate pores. The bottom one had the darkest color in it to get a little more depth in the water. And so I did it like that. And this is going to have a camping scene, I think, on the end, and maybe somebody fishing in a rowboat or something like that right here. But this is the main part I've been doing, and it's taken a while to do, but it's looking pretty good, I think. And of course, above this will be the upper deck where the mining district will go all the way across over this side. So I'm kind of anxious to get to that. This little piece right here is actually removable. This little rectangle piece over to about right here is removable, so I can get to the turnouts that go back into staging. Might be able to see them down in there. But anyway, I wanted a way to be able to get back into that without having to reach through a tunnel to get to them in case something went wrong. So pretty much that's it. I did start some fascia. You can see, so I've got some fascia lined up over there. It's cut and ready to go. And then I've got these over here. I got the secondary panel in for these switches right up in here. I did get the button on here for the stub switch. And that's using a, what they call that. Can't remember now. It's from Fast Tracks. It's the little turnout control, manual turnout control from Fast Tracks. And it worked a lot better than the Caboose Hobbies turnout throw there. Don't know what else. I can't think of anything else right offhand. But if you guys have any questions, feel free. Hang on, let me get this phone back up on here. Oh, I meant to tell you this. I got this done back here. This is actually a photo backdrop of South Park, Colorado, which is just west of Pikes Peak and south of Leadville and Fairplay. And I really like this area. It's a great place to go fish, but I liked it for the fact that it had the flat area on it with the cattle on it. And that's, you know, of course, going to have the cattle pens right here. I will be putting in a fence along that right against the backdrop. So it'll look like a fenced area. Although, you know, in Colorado, they have a lot of free range farm land up there, or cattle land. But anyway, let that turn around because you can't see enough of me, I'm sure. Okay, let's see. Let's turn this over here. So anyway, that's the update. And it seemed like it was going to be a lot more. I've been doing a lot of models, been working on the cattle fence, stuff like that. So I've been busy with it. And of course, I don't work on it every day, but I do a lot of work on it. But anyway, I will thumb back through chat here and see if anybody's got any questions. Oh, no problem, John. I may or may not have been here depending on when you came through. Excuse me. Uh-oh, did we lose sound? Just Dennis, okay. Yeah, Dennis got to see this in person, so I don't remember him asking me very many questions, though. Yeah, the water is really good. It's magic water. There again, the guy that was originally selling this stuff passed away in November. And when I tried to order it, I'm sorry about this cord here. When I tried to order that off of his site, when Scenery Solutions ran out of the product, I tried to order straight from him, and that's when they notified me he had passed away in November, and it's not being made anymore as far as I know. But I did find another hobby shop that had 2 more 18-ounce kits, and I bought one of them because I have a few other small little things I want to use it for. So if you want any of that, you should look for it, you know, start looking for it at hobby shops online, because it's not going to be made anymore as far as I know. But I can't recommend it enough. It's great stuff. Each pour on the lake were probably a little less than half an inch. The deepest part is probably only 1.75 inches, maybe 2 inches. I doubt it's even that deep on the very, very deepest part, which is not very big. That area is not very big. But what that 18-ounce kit will do, it'll do 2 square feet, 1/8 of an inch thick. And of course, they tell you not to pour more than 1/2 inch at a time. But you pour it in, then it takes about 24 to 48 hours to cure, you know, really hard like this. And then you can pour your next piece in, your next layer. And I've got the plexiglass up there still. That was just the dam to hold it. The fascia board will go over the front of that when I get to it. I also figured out my problem I was having on my control board. On my crossovers weren't working, and I found out one of the 8 function, or not 8 function, but 8 location switch bases for the touch toggles was not working properly. And Kevin over at Barrett Hill is where I get the touch toggles from, and he's a great guy to work with. I've talked to him several times. He's helped me work out other problems, and I told him what was happening and what I thought it was, and he said, yeah, just send it back. In fact, I got a new one before he got the whole one back to him, so he got it out faster than I did. So he's really good to work with. Let's see what else we got here. Thank you, Lee. Yeah, the lake came out really good. I like the way it came out. I kind of wish I'd have made it a little bit deeper, but it's okay with the coloring I put on that first layer. It gave it some depth and looked really good. Yeah, too bad it's going away. I do have a box of it here. This is the, let's see which, this is probably better. Magic Water. It was originally sold by unrealdetails.com, but that's the guy that passed away. But he's, you know, he had all kinds of scenery things you could do, little preformed ponds and all kinds of stuff that you could do. Scenery Solutions had some of this, the guy in Salina, Kansas, but I think he's out of the wet water. I mean, the Magic Water. And of course, it's not going to be around anymore. So I don't think he's ever going to have any more of it. The wood kits, John, just depends. Some of them go pretty fast. This one, this is a fairly involved kit. This is the slaughterhouse. It's got another piece. You know, this piece goes on the back, but there's another piece that goes on this side facing me, and then it's got a porch on the front, or not a porch, but a deck on the front. But it comes with little pieces of hanging meat and your rail for the meat to hang on and all that kind of stuff. It's got a water tank that sits up high on it. I can show you the picture of it. I was hoping to have that done before I did another update, but I didn't get a chance to get it done. So let's see here. And this is, like I say, this is a fairly which one's got the best light? You kind of see what it looks like. I hold it the right direction. That's one side of it. And then this is the back side, is this right here. But I will have the cattle pens on I think on either side of it, where they can unload from the standard gauge or the narrow gauge. Although most of the cattle, I would think, on this is going to be coming from the narrow gauge and going out on the standard gauge side in reefers. So I haven't exactly worked out how I want to do that yet. That's my idea for that. But yeah, the camel kits are great. You can find them on eBay all the time, but shop around for them if you go on eBay, because you can find them a lot cheaper than what some people have them on there. And if you go straight from Campbell's kits, they're fairly expensive. I mean, you know, as kits go, but they are Craftsman kits. You have to cut a lot of the wood. It's not laser cut. They do provide, you know, plastic doors, windows, and that sort of thing. I really like their shingles that they give you to put on them. Those come out really well. Let's see, I think I've got, yeah, a little small one here. This is a speeder shed. And it's kind of hard to see. Like I say, the light here is not great for doing this. Little speeder shed. But you can see the cedar shingles on top. But this one's fairly easy to put together here. It's not very big, obviously, but that's one of them. But I've got most of the kits on the layout are Campbell scale model kits. I always liked them. I liked them when I was a kid and saw them, and I started build them, and once I start building them, I like them too. The instructions can be a little tedious, but if you just stick with it, you know, don't try to get it in a big hurry, they come out pretty good. This is some of the railing and stuff for the cattle, for some of the cattle chutes. Of course, this is two different pieces, kind of hard to show. Get on this camera, you can see it better. But these are all individual boards. They all have to be cut to length. Some of them are already to length, like the longest ones here are the right length, but then these you had to cut down. It's not really hard to do, but it's not a snap together kit either. But they do look really good. And then I like these, I think I've said this before, I like these products for weathering mix. And this is the creosote black, which is that dark you saw on the cattle pen rails. And then the brown on, yeah, let's see. The brown I'm using on the building here is also theirs, and it's a dark brown, and that's Hunter Line products. They're out of Canada, but you can find them in the States, and you won't have to pay the expensive shipping that you get to from Canada. I know Mike McCarville used some of that, but he's been using, I think, some from Antero, which are probably very similar. They're an alcohol-based stain, but they look really good, and they've got several different colors on them. Okay, come back up here. Hope everybody had a great Father's Day yesterday. What was the stain you went with on the newest rock? Did you use stain instead of paint, correct? I did, and I used, what did I use? I just used Minwax. Most of that is, let me look, it's right here. My memory is not worth squat anymore. Okay, I used some ebony. Ebony is the darker stuff I used back here. Then I used English chestnut and a little bit of red oak. The red oak is the stripe through the back of it there. I can't really see it there, can you? See it like that. Some of that's got the darker red right here, and some up here. That's the red oak. Most of it's the chestnut, and then where I wanted darker stuff, I used a little bit darker. I used the what was it? I used a different one in there. Red oak. I may have just put it on thicker because the ebony is real. It's almost a black color. When you put it on the plaster, it's almost a black color. Now, I didn't use plaster of Paris like Bill does. I just had the plaster, same stuff I use for doing rock molds and that sort of thing. He uses plaster of Paris over the top of his plaster and then carves that. It probably carves a little bit better. I did this, and I had to do it in stages because the plaster does dry fairly quickly. But once you put a little bit of ground foam on top of it, that's what really made it look a lot better. And like I say, over here on this side, I still have, use this camera. Over here, I still have a lot of trees and that sort of thing to put in. As you can see, and I got where I get the ground foam on here, it looks a lot better. And I still need a lot of trees on that one. And of course, that's going to end up underneath a, I'll set that like that. That whole thing is going to set up underneath a upper deck, which is not going to be the upper deck won't be very thick right there, but it'll be lit up from underneath that deck also. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, John, I didn't answer your question on the wood kits. They can take a little bit of time. I think the toughest one for me was the coal tower. It came out really well, but it's, I started one and I got halfway through it and I trashed it and bought another one and learned from my mistakes I made on it. The biggest thing is taking your time with them. Art, hey Art, that slaughterhouse kit is a Campbell Scale Models kit. It is the Schrock warehouse, slaughterhouse or meat company. Let me see. Let me get the exact name. Yeah, F. Schrock Meat Company. Let's see that. You guys can't see any of this. It's really bad in here. F. Schrock Meat Company. I'm going to name mine a little different, but it's Campbell Scale Models. They were originally in Tustin, California, and the guy that originally started the company sold it. And the guy that bought it, his name's Tom, and he lives up in Grants Pass, actually. In fact, their factory is just east of Steve Arnold, about 45 minutes, something like that. I agree, Dennis. I think the wood kits are much easier to look old and look realistic. The plastic ones are much tougher to, like if you've got plastic wood on there, it's much tougher to make it look like wood than the actual wood and just staining it. It just works a lot better. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, Dennis, I wouldn't recommend them as your first kit, although there are some of their kits are not real big and so they're not hard to build. But the biggest thing with them is taking your time and really reading the instructions and kind of going over it in your mind before you start cutting anything. Because it can be, the instructions can be kind of confusing a little bit. You're welcome, Art. Well, if anybody, if they don't have any more questions on the layout, I guess I'll wrap it up. I've still got stuff to do to get the car ready and all that good fun stuff to go out to see Steve. Yeah, deciphering instructions, exactly right, Dennis. Yeah, John, if you don't read these instructions, you will definitely be lost, or you'll end up with parts that aren't going to fit because, they give you a long piece a long piece, a foot long or something like that of dimensional wood. And if you cut it wrong, you're going to be out of luck. So that's the only bad thing about that. But I had a lot of practice with the RC airplanes. So it was kind of like doing that sort of thing. A little bit smaller. I have to use tweezers on these as opposed to using just my fingers and stuff. But a good pair of tweezers is invaluable when you're building one of those Craftsman kits. Because that way you can get just enough glue on it to put it together without globbing it all over everything. And I usually stain, if I'm going to stain a building or something, I usually stain it before I glue it on. That way the stain covers all the wood and the glue won't show as much. And I usually use CA. Not always, but most of the time. For gluing all the wood parts together, it's almost always CA. For gluing the windows and doors in, I don't use CA because you can ruin the plastic on it. So I use the E6000. This is another one that I won't be in the shop without. This is like I say, I've said several times, it's like Walther's Goo or Goop or one of those. Then another little product I found that I really like, and you probably can't see it on here. Can you see the window on there? I get a couple of panes busted out of it. That stuff is, and I don't even remember where I saw this. It's called Window Pro Glazing, and I'm not even sure, like I say, where I got it. I may have gotten it on eBay. This is modeltechstudios.com, and it's a clear solution, kind of thick, and you just take a toothpick or something like that, and you dip in, and then you wet the edges of the window, and then you draw the solution across, and it makes a film across there, and then it'll dry. You just leave it to dry, and it looks like old, especially if you're doing old stuff. It looks like the old, really poorly glazed windows that they used to have back in the day that had air bubbles in them and bumps in them and everything else, distortions, instead of just using a clear piece of plastic. The light still shines through, but it gives you a lot more realistic look for an older building. You wouldn't want to use it on modern stuff, I don't think, but for the older stuff, it looks really good. Yeah, Dennis, on the corrals, I'm not even really following the plans per se. I'm not going to build it like, I think I told you that when you were here. I'm not building it in the dimension that the corral did. So I just built full lengths of the wood. I built rails, and then I'll cut them like I need them and put them in. Excuse me. Thanks, Dave. You know, I didn't really build it to be awe-inspiring. I had a kind of a vision in my head what I wanted, and it's changed a little bit since I started, but the basic layout is the same. So if you go to one of my earlier videos, you can see the track plan, or a pretty close approximation of the track plan, because I didn't go specifically by the track plan on this. And I've added stuff since then too. But anyway, like I say, if anybody has any more questions, I'll give you a couple of minutes here, because I know it takes several seconds for the chat to come through. Like I say, I hope everybody had a good Father's Day, and have a good week. And I think Dennis is going to do the show next week. That's right, Art, it is. I love the mountains. It's my favorite place. So I'm really anxious to get up around Glacier National Park, even though we're not going to get to go on the Going to Sun Road, but we'll still be there pretty close. Thank you, John. I'm sure we'll have a great time, but I had to do some hotel switching this morning because I found we were going to stay in Hungry Horse up by Glacier, and we've got one dog that absolutely goes berserk with the fireworks. And in fact, we're afraid she's going to have a heart attack or something, you know, if she gets that bad. So we've got medication to drug her when the 4th comes up. But we were going to be up there, and I asked the girl, I said, are the fireworks bad? And she said, oh, yeah. And they're right on the little 2-lane road that goes through town. She said they'll shoot them back and forth across the road all night long. I said, well, I probably should cancel this room then and find someplace else. But anyway, I think we'll have a good time, barring any car trouble or anything like that, which we just had to check up on that too. So we should be good to go. Well, anyway, thanks for dropping by, guys, and we'll talk to you later.